cutting out, but the most important thing is, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure. Of course I can.
You can? Okay. Yeah. You keep dropping out, so I'm not sure how's this going to work, but just give it a go, you know.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it and see what happens.
Okay.
Right, Carl wants to know what you're currently working on musically.
What am I currently working on musically? Wow, where do I start with that one? Well, interesting enough, and I suppose this is more relevant to what you'd like to hear, is the Visage project. But not only that, we've got David Brooks on board, the other Newman keyboard player. So between David and myself and a great singer called Zane Griff, who's from New Zealand, and he worked back in the 80s a lot with Warren Can from Ultravox and Hans Zimmer, and they were in a band together, all three of them, called Helden. And Zane has been produced by Bowie's producer Tony Visconti, and no, he's got a brilliant track record, but sadly he never had the hits that he deserved back in the 80s. Well, he's on board with Visage, of course, with Rusty Egan as well, who's kind of in control of it, of the whole thing by producing it, etc. And Midge Ewer might come on board along with Chris Cross playing some bass, but we don't know that yet. It depends on them. That's just what I've heard from Rusty. Apart from that, I've been doing some film and media music, which I've been doing for the last God knows how many years, and that's great as well. And also, I won't go into details as what I've done. I've been working on a film recently, writing some cues, and that's a really interesting one from a young director in Hollywood who was mentored under Stan Lee, the black film director. And the other project is one called The Replicant, which was a book written by Joe McCann using Gary Newman's kind of characterization from his early days, Pleasure Principle, and what's the other one called? Replicas, of course, etc., etc. And I mean, that's on hold. Well, I would say it's on hold at the moment. It's silly saying that, but certainly there's been a delay because tragically, one of the producers, this lovely lady called Leanne Langford, died last month. She brought me on board, and she's absolutely wonderful person, and sadly missed. And it's going to put a big dent in the project in terms of timescale. But the other producers on it, got Hill and Scott. They're determined to see it through. Stefano as well, who's a brilliant director of photography and director, and Hill is a great director, well placed and everything else. So that's an exciting project, but it's tinged with sadness, but something I'm kind of looking forward to. And I'm sort of bagging up ideas musically at the moment as we speak. Anything else? Oh yes, Dramatis, of course. Sorry to ramble on and answer this one question in so much detail, but there's a lot going on. With Dramatis, Russell's doing the bulk of the writing for the Dramatis album, and hopefully we'll get one out in time for our shows next year. Of course, with COVID-19, God bless it, everything's been rescheduled. So this year's been a complete washout in terms of shows. We're due to do Visage shows plus Dramatis. They've been bumped to next year, I think June for Visage, June for Dramatis, Visage for, the last I've heard, for August. Anyway, that's about it. Is that enough information for you?
No, it don't seem like you're too busy then.
No, I'm bored to death. Bored to death. I'm going to go out and do some gardening now. I'm so bored.
Well, lucky enough, I've done some this morning. But anyway,
right.
David wants to know how you communicated on stage 79 to 80 with other band members.
How I communicated? Sorry, I lost you a bit there. So was it quite a question how I communicated on stage with the band members?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, you're frozen a little bit.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now, yeah.
I think you're going to have to edit this.
Go ahead,
It's got here, your internet connection is unstable. Fantastic.
No,
Brilliant. Just what we need. Hang on a minute. Oh, on live box. Okay, let's battle on through this.
Yeah.
As I said, you have to do a lot of editing. Right. How did I communicate with the other members of the band? Well, in some respects, with great difficulty. On the Pleasure Principle tour, it wasn't too bad because I could see everybody apart from Paul, our bass player, because he was just underneath me. I was on the tower and he was right in front of the tower, so I don't see much of him. But I could see Gary, I could see Russ, Cedric and Billy Curry, so that wasn't an issue. However, on the tour, well, the shows at Wembley and before that, the tour for Telecom, that was a bloody nightmare because I was in a box and all I could see was Gary. So you were really, really relying on your monitors, and if they were cracking up or going down, you were really in trouble. It did happen on a couple of occasions, and if it happened when we were doing the touring principle on the towers, it didn't matter. I just followed Cedric, and I could hear him clearly. But when you were sort of cocooned in that box, you did feel isolated. It was odd. It was very odd. It was okay after a while. You got used to it, but I would say that that's where. In all the tours that I've ever done with Gary, that was the one with the least communication with the band because you couldn't see them.
Yeah, that is true, actually. I mean, when you see the photos or videos or something, you do seem fairly isolated in a box.
That's right. Completely isolated in my little box, my own little world. And half the time it made it, I looked at the audience, I felt I was the only person on stage until I saw Gary. So that was odd, but no, obviously I was aware of the other players, but you were very much reliant on the monitors. Things did go wrong. A lot of the time those old analog keyboards used to play up, they blow up, they catch fire, they break down. That's why we had spares with us. But hey, you know, that's just all part and parcel of playing live back in the day. I mean, nowadays I go on stage with a computer and a MIDI keyboard, and I'm more than happy. You know, I know that it's going to work. Well, touch wood.
It's funny, because I remember seeing a photo with Dennis Haynes in one of these pods. He's got a fan and a tin of beer on his knee. And you think everything.
He took a fan on board. I hope the fan paid. I should have thought of that. I should have had a couple of fans. Oh, a fan. Okay. Yeah, we did. We had to have some fans because that was really hot. The hottest gig, funnily enough, was the hottest show we did was the Warriors. Warriors tour was that was baking because we were wearing leather, and the lights were pretty close to us. And on several occasions, you felt like you're being absolutely fried. I never used to bother using throughout the entire Warriors tour. I never dried my hair when I washed it. I just went on stage with wet hair, and it dried itself after the first number.
Which actually, funny enough, there's another question from a Stephen about Joe Hubbard on the Warriors tour.
Yeah, yeah.
On how his bass was with the Warriors, and also.
I've lost you. What's the question? I've lost you. Say it again.
With Joe Hubbard.
Joe Hubbard, got that? Yeah.
Right. How did you your thoughts on Joe Hubbard?
How did I what? Sorry.
Your thoughts on Joe Hubbard back in the day.
Joe Hubbard. My thoughts on him.
Yeah.
He's a total American bastard. What do you reckon? No, he's like no. No, he was a brilliant player. Frighteningly brilliant. But I remember him telling me that in America he would be treated just as an average bass player, and he's playing up to 8 hours a day. That's what you had to do to compete. You know, I guess, I mean, I'm going to get shot in the head probably from a lot of British musicians, but British musicians, I don't think, put that amount of playing time in. I certainly didn't, even when I was at music college. But with Joe, he was just constantly playing. And bearing in mind, he was a teacher as well. He mentored Nick Beggs, who frequently came to our shows. Who else? Several others as well. No, he was a very, very, very good bassist. He gave it. I mean, look, you know, each player who came on board with Gary Newman gave something, presented something a bit different. You've got Before him, Paul Gardner is outstanding, and so unique and absolutely right for that sort of period of music. Then as Gary changed and brought in bass players, because I think Joe played on some of the tracks of the album. Oh God, his name escapes me. Good grief, what's going on? What was the album we did to support Warriors? It's called Warriors, yeah. Warriors. The album Warriors, yeah. And so consequently, he kind of moved on from the style of Paul's playing, and Joe was brilliant for that. That sort of like style that he played in, which is very relevant to the day, wasn't it? And as a person, I got on fine with him. He was. We had our moments when I thought, God, he's a bit full on, because he's a full on Yank. You know what I mean? You know, but he was amusing. He had a great sense of humour, actually, really good sense of humour. I really enjoyed that. But he did have issues with Gary, and you know, he was quite argumentative towards the tour, and it caused, you know, it was an intense tour. It's 40 dates, and I think we just started to get on each other's nerves a bit, you know.
Well, to be fair, I did interview him, and he did say he was young and stuck up his own arse at the time. And
right.
Because he would hire a man.
Well, I can't comment on that. I don't comment on people's arses, so.
No, but
no. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember him in more of a positive. I remember in more of a positive light than negative. Put it that way.
I know, because he went on to be a bouncer, didn't he? You know, a bodyguard sort of guy and all this. And he was telling me that he was doing a party, and Russell turned up, and he said, "I'm only going to let you in if you can remember who I am." And he couldn't remember.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Weird.
No.
Okay. No, but talking about bass players as well, after that, you've got people like Andy Coughlin, and I just thought he was brilliant. And Andy was a great player. And not only that, we used to call him the Gent, Andy Coughlin, and we had a good laugh together. I called him the Welshman, you know, and he called me the Cornishman, because we both had that sort of Celtic connection. And no, he was brilliant. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I must have done at least 4 tours with him, and it was good fun. Really nice guy.
To be fair, I did interview him.
But I know that wasn't the question.
You what, sorry?
I'm just saying, I know that wasn't the question. I'm just
No. But I did interview him, and he did tell me some strange stories, but I'll leave that on my recorder. Right, Andy wants to know your favourite Newman track.
Oh, Down in the Park, without a shadow of a doubt. Always has been, always will be. Absolutely brilliant. Great fun playing it live. But my only regret about it is I didn't play on it, on the album. It was before I joined, you know, it's on replicas. But I just think that track's got everything.
Yeah.
It just sums up the thing. I know Our Friends Electric Cars, brilliant tracks, but no, that's my favourite. It's dystopian, it's some great, incredibly well arranged, great lyrics. To me, it's it really is the how can I explain it? I don't know. Really.
It's summed up very.
Well, it does. That period to me, it sums it up perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard it until I bought the album, and
nor did I. Well, I got given the album. I got my albums for nothing. I didn't have to pay for them.
So, a mate of mine, Colin, wants to know what your fondest memories of stage travel world would have been.
Oh, good grief! We've got so many memories. I think, to be honest, well, he's actually summed the whole thing up. I think those first 2 years, up until just after, well, up until we finished the first part of our career with Gary, the Wembley shows, and including the Wembley shows, that was the most exciting period. That 79 to 81 period. Afterward was great, but it tended to be quite fragmented with just tours each year and the occasional recording and some TV stuff, you know, either in the UK or in Europe. But the 2 world tours we did and all the concerts we did in the UK, and it was just such a huge event, for its day. Yes, okay, Pink Floyd did the Wall, and there's been other sort of big stuff as well. But these shows that were put on were absolutely unique for the time, and it was great to be part of it. And so it includes the shows, it includes the recordings, the travelling, of course. When you're 22, 23, 24 years old, and you're seeing a lot of the world, you don't have to pay for it. In fact, you're getting paid for it. It's not bad. That's the personal anecdotes. You'll have to read my book, but it eventually comes out in the year 2046.
Well, I think I'll be long gone by then. Which actually brings me, a mate of mine, Blair, actually, when is the book out? But you've just said 2046.
Oh, God, I don't know. Well, this is the 2046, but that's what it feels like. This is the problem I've got with it, having promised that I'd do this book. There's a couple of issues here, that's that I'm just so busy on music projects, and also not many people know this, but I work for 10 days a month in a medical centre in the Dordogne, doing Chinese medicine. I'm a qualified acupuncturist, and I do acupuncture there, and I just love doing that. But it does take up time, so it's just finding some time to do it. And also, we'll all agree on this, my memory is not quite as it was. So I'm having to try and put things together and correlate everything that I experienced, and I've experienced during those years with Gary. And it is a bit of a mix, and it's a muddle. I was having a chat to someone the other day. In fact, I wasn't chatting to him actually. I noticed it was on a Facebook thread that Greg Brimson, who did one tour with us in 1987, he thought he did it in 88, and then he corrected it to 87. So, if he's struggling having done one tour, imagine what my brain's going through. What was the name of the 85 tour? What was the name of the 88, the 89? Obviously fans would know, but I haven't got a fucking clue. Too old.
It's one of those things. I mean, when I started my book, I think I started it in 2008, and it was 2012 the time it came out.
Yeah,
it's not just.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, right, strange question. Another David wants to know, did you ever use a Pro 1 on any tours? I don't know what
I did. It's a Pro 1. It's a sequential circuits. The Prophet 5s and the Prophet 10s and stuff. It's a smaller version of that. No, we had Prophet 5s. Prophet 10, Dennis had one with Dramatis, but I don't think he toured it. I had Prophet 5s, and that's the only one I had. And they were, oh gosh, lovely instrument, but so flaky. I describe them as the delicate synth. There was one particular preset that we used for tracks like I Die, You Die, and I think Down in the Park or whatever. And on I Die, You Die, when you're playing that theme at the start on this very delicate synth with this very precise tinkling sound. I remember now, it's preset 36 on the Prophet 5 with a mod wheel up. And of course, what do they do? I'm on my own, apart from Sid sort of like keeping me in time with his sticks. And they put a strobe on me. So I'm playing this delicate line on my own in front of thousands of people. The whole bloody keyboard's moving, and I'm trying to keep pace with it. So that was stressful. And as soon as the rest of the band came in, it was like, phew. And a lot of the time, as I said, the Prophet would sort of misbehave terribly on in Brighton, or Brighton Dome. That's my home territory, Brighton. Although I was born in Cornwall, I was raised just outside Brighton. And we were playing there. Of course, all my mates are there and the rest of it. And I'm playing Our Friends Electric on this bloody Prophet 5. Tinkling away on it, and all of a sudden, instead of it sort of behaving and playing the notes, it just goes glissandos up, and I just quickly had the presence of mind to go down to the Polymoog and play that, and Gary was coming up to me and he looked at me laughing his head off and taking the piss, so but no, that was the Prophet 5. Delicate, that's the Prophet 1, no, Pro 1, sorry. No, never touched it. I don't know. Horrible. Blow the thing up, burn it.
A very good friend of mine, Mike, I always call him Mike OBC. But did you ever feel uncomfortable with some of the Newman images, either on stage or TV, or did any of the other band members feel a little bit uncomfortable with the
Uh,
outfit? Hey, Warriors,
Not
Furies.
really. Yeah. Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on. I can't think of anything I particularly. Well, gosh, this is really horrible. Apart from, as I said, with the Warriors stuff, all the leather gear we just used to fry when we played live. But as for the look, well, I think I look bloody cool in it. Wish I just could have kept it. I'd gone round on my motorbike with my leathers on, from Warriors.
Oh, you'd had your long hair flapping around. Yeah, I would have done back in the day. Anyway, another column wants to know, Peter Gray, credits as a songwriter or financially or anything?
Oh yeah, I got credited. Yeah, I got credited as a songwriter. On one, I think on a 12-inch, they credited me as D Payne and not C Payne, which is quite amusing because it's my sister's name. She's called Debbie, so I was wondering why she's driving around in a Ferrari, back in the day.
Yes.
No, of course I got well credited for it. That wasn't an issue. And oh god, yeah, I mean, over the years it's done extremely well. I mean, it still earns well now. It's an evergreen. It's an amazing track in that respect. Funny, at the time, none of us thought it would ever really become as kind of as big as it did. I don't get it even to this. Well, I do get it now, but back in the day I didn't. I thought, wow, how come that's doing so well? The guy fronting it had an average voice. So I don't wish to speak ill of the dead, but Steve Strange, I think by his own opinion, if he was alive, and many others as well, wasn't the best vocalist on the planet, but image-wise, he was right for the time, and it was okay. When I hear Midge Ure sing it, it's a different league.
No, he couldn't.
You've got to admit that with Midge singing it, it's totally different.
I mean, good thing about Izzard's live is, as long as you have plenty of beer, your ears good. So actually, he doesn't sound that bad. Or he didn't.
Okay. I've never seen him live, obviously, but I don't know. And it's sad. It is sad that he's died. It's sad that he fell out with Rusty, or Rusty had these issues with him. It's just a tragedy, but we've got to move on. And I'll tell you this: that Zane, who's the new singer, is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
And he never got what he should have got. He was a brilliant artist. He could sit. He can still. I mean,
Zane. Oh gosh, he's like, sounds like Bowie. Can't tell the difference on a lot of his tracks. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to working with him. Actually,
I always like the fact I was having a cigarette and a beer with Steve Strange on a roof in Norwich. Not a roof as such, but apartment thing. And he was telling me he didn't drink or smoke, and he's got a fag in his hand and a glass of wine. And I thought, who am I to argue with you?
Okay, right, yeah, no comment.
Adrian wants to know your favourite Numan album since leaving the band.
Since leaving the band? Well, I'm not familiar with all of them, and I do like tracks after service, but the one I'm most familiar with is the last one, which is Savage, and I think it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's all I can say. Fantastic album. I think that's it, to me. It's pinnacle. It's a pinnacle. It's like he's reached that. All the other albums are very good from what I've heard, but that one has just taken it to in my opinion, to a different level. And it's kind of accumulation of all he's done and put together, and then just come up with this great track. I mean, My Name Is Ruin, in my opinion, is an absolutely phenomenal track and a phenomenal video. Why it didn't get more airplay, or any airplay, if it did, I don't know. But certainly that video deserved to be shown all over the world. It was phenomenal. Now, this is not me being sycophantic or anything. I genuinely believe that.
Right. So Paul wants to know your favourite song to play. Now, this could be anyone over the years.
With Gary? Yes, of course. Yeah, with Gary. Yeah. Well, Down in the Park. That's great fun to play. Favourite? I suppose it must, to be honest with you, but it would change. I used to love playing We Are Glass, because it was the last, one of the last songs that we played live. And it was just good fun. It was all the audience relaxed getting into it. It was a bit of a rock and roll vibe at the end, with the ciggy boards, and it just felt complete. It completed the set, so that was good fun. I used to like rocking out on. Sounds terrible, rocking out playing synths on May I Disconnect From You, because we used to really give that some power. Especially when Russell thundered in on his guitar and the bass playing going, the Cedric powering away on the drums. That was good fun. Yeah, that was good. So yeah, I mean, there's several pieces that stand out to me, and but I suppose the most fun to play would have been fun to play with Glass.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best, but the most fun.
Yeah, well, it was a very simply one. I mean, it was fastest, wasn't it? So yeah, I can see that one. Now, Mandy from Canada wants to know how your personal life changed when Newman became big. Were you able to go out, do this, do that without being recognised, or bands or whatever?
Totally, absolutely. Actually, for a bit of fun, on the first time it went out on our Grey Whistle test and Top of the Pops that week back in May 1979, I believe. Yep. For a bit of fun, I went out with my friends down the local pub. Well, not a local pub, it's a pub in a town called Worthing, and to see. And they said, "Come on, Chris, go out. Let's see how many people recognise you. Because you've been on TV now." We went out and had a drink. We were there for about 4 hours at the pub, and not one person recognised me, but one single person. And apart from one bloke who looked at me strangely in the toilet, but we won't go down that road. Has it changed? Did it change me? Not in the slightest. Absolutely not.
Brighton?
In terms of, sorry?
Brighton, you said.
Ryan?
Brighton.
Oh, Brighton. Yeah, probably. I don't know. No, so this is in Worthing. Yeah. No, so did it change me? No. Mandy from Canada, God bless her. It didn't change me at all. Perhaps me and Mandy met in Canada. We, if she was a fan and came to see our Toronto or Montreal shows. I don't know where she's from, but it was no. I don't think did. I change? Oh God, I don't think I did. I was very happy. I think that's what changed me. I was really, really happy to have. Been given this incredible opportunity to do what I did. Play with Gary and tour the world. I mean, at that age, why would you not be happy with that? So that was the only change of pure Zen happiness.
I mean, to be fair, it must have been an amazing experience to be with the #1 artist in the world, going round the world. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the sort of thing.
Yeah, it was quite surreal, actually, and even sometimes even more so looking back on it. The fact that how it all came together, how this amazing bunch of sort of disparate people, I'm talking about road crew and band and everything else, could go on stage with this really complicated set and never really been done before, touring a set of that sort of magnitude without the technology that we have today. Bear in mind, we're using technology of 1979, 1980. And the fact that it's working, the fact that it's looking so spectacular, and it's okay, things would, of course, it would go wrong, but being part of this, it seemed like you were, there was a sort of symbiotic thing really going on, but amongst us and our set and our little bubble, so symbiotic is obviously not quite the right word, but it'll give you the impression when I was trying to say that we're in this sort of unique little bubble of just this family of band, crew, and whoever else was involved in it.
But following on from that, another question Mike asked me, or asked you, is your first impressions of seeing the stage set in 79, 80 in Wembley? How you felt,
Wembley?
Well, going back to Torn Principle and then the Telly Tour, then Wembley.
Well, yeah, Wembley. Yeah, the Wembley shows. Well, we rehearsed them at Shepton Studios, so you got used to seeing the set because. But you know, Gary would practice, rehearse over and over and over and over again, not just for the bands to get our stuff together, but it's mainly for getting all the lights and the sound synchronized and that aspect of it. And yeah, I mean, you kind of looked at it and thought, yes, it's brilliant. It's looking really amazing. But when you're doing it on a daily basis and maybe running through the set twice a day and finishing at midnight, you know, you just get a bit sort of frazzled. But when you saw it, when we saw it set up in Wembley and the size of Wembley, and looking at it, it became quite apparent that this was going to be enormous. And yes, stepping out for those 3 nights was an incredible experience. We played sort of maybe similar venues, perhaps slightly bigger in America. I know the Montreal Maple Leaf Gardens was big. Also, the LA Forum, that was a big one, but there's just something special about Wembley because it's your home, isn't it? You know, it's Britain.
Yeah, I mean, I think I spoke to you about when we were doing the book sort of thing about the first night at Glasgow on the Torn Principle, how that must have felt for yourself and the rest of the band.
Yeah, well, it was terrifying and exciting at the same time. And we had no idea at the time that the road crew were putting this together. And it was just like, as they said afterwards, the monitor guy was saying that he had spanners, exaggerating slightly, but certainly a toolkit, torchlight. It was just, he said, this whole thing is being held together by string. In other words, he was saying that it could go wrong at any point. Bang, the whole thing would just blow up. And that was the end of that. But it didn't. It was an interesting experience walking out of the Glasgow Apollo to do that sound check, and I just remember it was chaos. Everyone was doing something. It was just like seeing people running around in a street just down on the front of the stage there, and yeah, I mean, it's funny. The time I stood on the stage, and you know, I'm proud to say I played the opening notes of the first ever Newman gig. And that was Air Lane. That was me, because I remember going on stage, fans were going nuts, and we're all in black, and Cedric stood up watching it, and it was an incredible experience. And he came across to me and shook my hand and said, "Good luck, mate, good luck." And he went to Billy Curry, did the same. And then it was ready to go, you know, after the intro music, and Sid just tapped the sticks to count me in. And I started playing, I think this is in the book anyway, if not, you know, it'll be in my book. And I started playing the opening lines to Air Lane, that D, G, F sharp, B, etc., etc. I think it is. Well, it's been a long time now, so I don't remember. And I had a little monitor thing, you know, mixing desk, and of course, I turned the bloody thing off, so I couldn't hear myself. I could only hear my instrument going for the PA, and rather than panic, because I'm playing these notes on my own, I just casually turned around, cool as you like, and turned it on. And because as terrified as we were before going on stage, once we were on there, when Sid shook my hand and said, "Good luck, pal," all the nerves had gone. And even though it could have been a disaster, those first 4 notes, I'm here, they're going out the PA, rather than just, fuck! It was a case of, you know, turning the mixer up, and casually carrying on. And when the rest of the band came in, it was just like, whoa, you know. And then after that, of course, Newman comes on stage to do "Be I Disconnect From You," and bang, it just kicked off even more. Just when you thought the level couldn't get more exciting and more raucous, it did.
How did you feel after it? I mean,
actually, it was really weird, because I came off stage, and we were all scattered all over the place. Of course, I was at the side, and it was a bit like Spinal Tap. You know, we couldn't. The backstage was really complex, and I just wandered around. And the first person I ran into was Billy Curry. We just gave a just big embrace, and it was like, "Oh, fantastic, man! It's absolutely brilliant." You know, then we met up with the rest of them, and before we know it, it was like quick out on the bus and back to the hotel, because pandemonium outside. You know. Yeah, it was quite an experience. Let me put it that way. One I won't forget. Yeah, there you go. That's interesting. I haven't told anybody about. I haven't recounted that sort of story for many a year, and I remember it quite clearly. That's going in the book.
Right. But I always enjoyed when you were telling me about Steve Archer. on the
Oh
plane.
God, Archie was a lunatic. God bless him. You know, he's dead now. You know that, don't you?
No.
Oh, I think he died. Died a few years ago, very sadly. I'd heard anyway. And yes, he was a real character. If there was any shit going down, Archie would be there, and you'd laugh it off. You know, everything would, you'd bring it. He was a great sort of like leveler to any situation. But he could be a bit over the top. You know. As you well know, I think I've told you about this, the New Zealand incident. We were flying from, where were we going? Obviously, it must have been Japan, New Zealand. Or was it New Zealand? No, sorry, New Zealand, Australia on New Zealand airline. I think I might have got that wrong. And he grabbed the microphone and started talking to us. And he used to have this really weird way of talking, like, hello, bye, how you doing? Hello, like that. And of course, you know, usually on the sort of intercom, you say, we'll be landing in 5 minutes, fasten your seatbelts. All we got was this, hello, mate. He grabbed the microphone across the whole plane. We were just pissing off. Oh, God, no, it's Archie. What's he done now? He's going to get arrested because he nearly got arrested for, you know, letting off a starting pistol in the customs in New Zealand. You know, he just like, oh, no. You know, trying to explain. We always had to explain him, but at the same time, God, what a lovely guy he was. Really interesting character.
Well, do you know what? The shame is he actually sent me a postcard just before he died saying you could have spelled my name right because I put Steve Arch and it's actually Steve Archer. And
we all know Steve Arch, yeah.
Well, it was just a random postcard, and I thought, okay, but then obviously he died a couple of days later or something like. Yeah, it's just, I did interview him a few times, but it never made it to the book.
Not surprised.
There's no surprise on that. Yeah. Chris, I think we're done.
Okay.
I'm sure I've missed a few people out, but but I really appreciate, and I'm sure everyone appreciates you taking the time in these crazy days to do this.
Yeah, what crazy days are they? Crazy days? Is there something happening? Something I've missed? Is there an asteroid coming?
I like the fact when I spoke to you not so long ago, you said,
"Oh, you're frozen."
Oh, right, okay. But I'm just going to put this up as it goes.
Hey? Well, no, the trouble is, the problem is, as you know, you keep dropping out and the rest of it, there's delays, there's all the sorts of things. It's Sunday and everyone's on internet. It's absolute chaos, isn't it? Total chaos.
Well, it's okay because you're froze a lot, but I've still got the audio, so we'll go with that. We'll go with that. But, Chris, Jamar's touring soon, next year.
Sorry? Who?
Jamar's touring next year.
Oh, Jamar's, yeah. Well, we're not touring. We're trying to put a tour together. Well, you've got to try and get us a date in Norwich. Well, we've got two. We've got the Birmingham and Manchester. Someone else is working. No, sorry, Birmingham. No, hang on. London, Birmingham. Someone else is working on Manchester, possibly Liverpool. What we need is Bristol, Norwich, Glasgow. If you could get a spread like that, it would already be great. Of course, I'd love to go around the country, but it's just not financially feasible because you're just not going to fill out the venues. But if we could do those main towns of London, Bristol, Norwich, Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, we've kind of covered quite a lot of the country.
Yeah.
We haven't covered sort of Yorkshire, but we haven't covered Yorkshire, but who wants to go there? We don't want to go there.
Well, it's in lockdown again, first, not worried about that.
Just lost the entire Dramatis fan in Yorkshire.
Indeed. All right, Chris, look, I'm going to upload this to my Facebook page, and let's see how it goes.
Well, you better let me hear it first.
I'm just going to put it on, mate. I'm just going to put it on. It'll be
right.
right.
Okay, matey. You take care, and don't forget the Norwich show. You're the promoter, and get us a good deal. Well, yeah. I want a rider. I want these. I don't want sandwiches with that in it. I don't want that. What's that? I don't want that. You know, don't want that shit. I don't want it. I want some nice wine. Bear in mind, I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan, and I do eat a bit of fish. So just put it past you.
I've got a green room. I shan't worry about food. I'll just put drink in it. Chris, I'll talk to you soon, mate.
All right, take care. Bye now.
Be good, mate. Nice to talk to you. Oop. I don't know how you stopped it. Oh, there we go.